Hello and welcome to the Growing Green Landscapes Podcast with Jeremiah Jennings. While still in his early 20s, Jeremiah already runs a successful six-figure lawn maintenance company. Listen in as he and his guests share the things that have brought them success that can help you in your business. As a young entrepreneur in the green industry, Jeremiah emphasizes the tips and tricks involved in running a lawn maintenance business while discussing the principles applying to all small businesses. If you're wanting to grow, become profitable and professional, you're in the right place. And now, here's your host, Jeremiah Jennings.
What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode today here on the Growing Green Landscapes Podcast. This is your host, Jeremiah Jennings. We are excited to be coming to you today with a great guest interview, Naylor Taliaferro from the 2022 Green Industry Hype House, presented by Entrepreneurship Academy, Hardscape Academy. Super great places to go get resources. We've said their names all week long. I'll continue to say their names forever, even if they're not sponsoring content, because the amount of resources they have for guys and girls out there in the industry just to be a better resource to them and go out and create really good contracts and training programs and everything that goes along with that. I'm just excited to see where those platforms take off to, but we are here because of them. So thanks to them for helping us get here and put this house together for all of us, just friends, buddies, come in to create content and come in to build better relationships and put out more content to everyone out there listening and ourselves. I'm learning from it as I'm here. I don't know about you, Naylor.
100%. Yeah, I'm always learning, and I'm always grateful to even be a part of these kind of opportunities. You know, I never take this stuff for granted.
No way.
You know, I mean, it doesn't matter what I have or haven't done, who I'm friends with or whatever. I mean, there's plenty of opportunities for everyone, and you know, I just don't take anything for granted. I'm just happy to be a part of anything in the community that I can be a part of.
Yeah, and you're kind of a leader in the forefront there of putting some of these live events together. All that you did at GIE and the podcast summit this year in
yeah.
Maryland. So you're no stranger to any of these events. This is my first time down here. It's more than I could ever even dream of, honestly. It's more than I could dream of. I came into this week wanting to build relationships. That's what we say on my podcast all the time is we want to grow the community one relationship at a time. And I feel like if we don't build the relationships, the ones that are putting out content, if we don't build the relationships amongst ourselves, then I feel like it'd be easy to really get into like competition mode, putting out content. I mean, you could be like, I don't really want to support you. I'm doing my own thing, and you're kind of intruding on my territory there. And I don't believe that's the case at all with any of these people down here. I mean,
it's probably more healthy competition, if that. I mean, I remember last night or whatever, I think Brian Fullerton and Paul Jameson were having a nice conversation about how they were battling to a million downloads. Like, Paul was just like showing his stats and happy that he's going to be at 1 million downloads soon for his podcast. And Brian's like, I wonder what I'm at. And he looks and he's like, oh man, I'm pretty close too. And then it became like a little bit of a competitive thing there. You know, he's like, I'm never gonna make it before him unless I just bang out some extra episodes all of a sudden. So it's just like he just kind of like I think threw his hands up like, all right, I'm succeeding to Paul. He's just gonna make it before I am.
Paul definitely won.
But they both hit it. You know,
Brian was right there behind him.
Exactly. But so there's like a healthy competition is what I'm saying.
And
I don't think it's a rivalry.
That builds it though. That builds relationships. I don't want if you have no competition, you're never going to strive to get better.
Right.
Like if you don't have somebody that right there with you, like that's challenging you every day, why would you need to get better?
Yeah, you don't want to be complacent, get lazy, and all that kind of stuff with anything. Your personal life, your relationships, your business, social media content, all that.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little about. I mean, you've been on the podcast before, so you don't have to give a whole backstory about yourself and all that, but. Tell us what's going on in the life of LCR Media and Clean Cut Lawn Care right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, it has been an extremely challenging season for my lawn care business. Just, you know, probably a combination of a lot of things, just all the things that I've done, you know, 8 years in business, just everything building up, trying to grow my company strategically, not trying to get too big too fast, you know, that whole like downfall of a lot of companies, a lot of people that I've known, and also not just getting into that, you know, not wanting to like I want to succeed no matter what, but you know, sometimes you got to realize you got to pivot, make some adjustments, things like that, where you just might not be able to follow that same goal this year or whatever. Maybe you can come back to whatever and reevaluate, but there's so many people like that quit this year or downsized, and it was a year of transitions, and my business got super busy because I think with the pandemic it just became this never-ending like compounding effect the last couple of years of all the outdoor spaces in people's lives. Everybody the green industry just exploded. Like whether it's a mulch yard and mowers and landscape supplies to actual service providers, it's just blowing up. No one can keep up with the demands, and then you got to throw in the labor crisis. That's the worst it's kind of ever been in our country. All that tied together made it really stressful for me in my growing business, and I just had to navigate that, employee issues and tons of growth and trying to not get ahead of myself. And it was growth in the right areas too, which was so difficult. I'm so challenging. I'm all about route density, and I built a really good dense route, but so like normally when I get calls in the spring and throughout the year, it's kind of like all over town, and it's easy for me to be like, sorry, you're out of our service area and stuff like that. And there'd be a few here and there in the same neighborhoods that we're in, and we're like, all right, cool, we'll pick those up, and or we'll send the quotes out, and if they accept, then that's a few more we added, and we kind of organically do that every year, and it's manageable. But this year it seemed like it was more like 90%. Instead of 10%, it was more 90% of the same neighborhoods we were in were contacting us. Beautiful. And only like 10% was the stragglers that I said no. So it's a beautiful thing, but unfortunately, it just kind of like, it kind of put that extra pressure, I guess, on the business that, we were just like getting close to 100 clients, and it's like the threshold of hell when you're one crew and you're trying to juggle that much. And it's just like, oh my gosh, we offer lawn maintenance, fertilization, weed control, and some light landscaping maintenance like trimming shrubs and mulch in the spring and aeration seeding in the fall and leaf cleanups and stuff like that. So it's all pretty much year round for us in Central Virginia.
Yeah.
But it was a lot to ask for one crew, and I just couldn't find and keep the good people other than who I already had, and so I just really couldn't expand the necessary staffing amount to keep up with that. And so little by little, like the kind of wheel started shaking and falling apart a little bit, and I had to kind of piece things back together. So all while that was going on, I was still trying to stay true to LCR media and content creation, because that really gives me a lot of life energy, and I feel something really what's the word? It just brings me great joy and satisfaction, like a sense of purpose, I guess, to share my story, find other stories to share, help bring people together at different community events, and just be a part of this community that of this industry that I'm in. It's just, meet guys like you and develop friendships, make new friendships, and just keep growing. It's just a great like-minded experience with a lot of fun folks, and I don't want to like forget about that or lose that in the shuffle just because other things in my life are going crazy. So there's a little bit of a juggling act for sure, but I think I still was able to put out the podcast is the easiest way for me to keep up with content. Yeah. YouTube kind of fell behind for the whole year. I mean, I put out a video here and there, kind of more of like the obligatory, yeah.
There you go.
Videos. But they were still videos that I wanted to make anyway. But it was like the bare minimum that I put out there on YouTube. But I was really trying to focus on the podcast, put all my energy and time in that, make sure that it was as successful as it could be, and kind of get a good routine where it was just, almost on automatic. Just make the content, get it out, and boom. So I was able to still, I think, participate in a lot of things and do the different live events at the GIE, which now is the Equip Expo, and then create the podcast summit locally at Baltimore, Maryland, so I don't have to like travel yet another, go to another place like flying or driving far, just a couple hours away from me, and other people flew in. So trying to be mindful of those things, still bring people together, but not stretch myself any more thin than I already am. So that's kind of how it's been. And then now here we are, the beginning of the year, which the podcast summit was in January, which tried to get all the podcasters together and people in the community locally, some not so local. Someone came from Michigan, drove all the way over to be a part of it and check out the Mulchmate facility and all of the products that they make over there in Baltimore, Maryland, and get on all of our podcasts, like Caleb, myself, Paul Jameson, and Dan Wheeler with the Fence Industry podcast showed up. A lot of other people wanted to come, but they, there's just so many things going on, and last minute things came up, snowstorms, all these things. So, and similar to here, the same thing. So, with the Hype House here down in Florida. So this is like the most recent thing, and we were planning this for a while, and I was looking forward to it, regardless of everything going on. But again, same kind things, life issues. Some people had to leave early, and snow and this and that, and some people couldn't come, and we had to keep swapping guests around and trying to fill the house. So a lot of things for a lot of people this year. I think 2020 or last year, 2021 was definitely it was definitely a challenging year for a lot of folks, and so I'm just trying to piggyback off of that and pivot where I need to and just keep moving forward with my goals.
Yeah. Well, we actually did a podcast with Caleb and Brittany Allman this morning, and we got to talking about the whole COVID thing happened in 2020, and that kind of shook the world. In the hot tub last night, we were talking about how Pajak was saying he got shook by that. Like it really affected his business big time. And it's crazy how different markets got affected, and some states got shut down, couldn't work until 3 months behind where they were supposed to be working, and stuff like that happened. So 2020 was a big year in that aspect. But then we were talking to the Almonds, and they were saying that, and it really brought up a really good point, that 2021, it was almost like the year after was worse. We got through 2020, and that was okay. It was bad. But then 2021 set in, and it was it just continued. It just a rebuttal year. It just did the same thing over and over again. Yeah. Because I think part of it was 2020 set. We were 6, 8, 12 months. This thing will be behind us. We'll be moved on. Obviously, that never happened. It's still a thing today.
Yeah.
So, what have you learned from the trials of 21? I know I've heard a lot of you. I've heard you on a lot of different podcasts. We all know 2021 was hard for everyone. We just discussed that a little bit. Hard year for you. You got bit by one of the world's most poisonous caterpillars.
Yeah, what the heck?
What are the chances of that? That in and of itself is bad. I almost cut my fingers off in 21.
That's right, yeah.
I mean, a lot of crazy stuff happened in 21, for real.
Yeah.
What are some things that you have learned that you're going to take and adapt into your business to mold yourself better for the future?
Well, I made some key adjustments to my business, and that's pretty much. And so I made some key adjustments to my business to make it a little bit easier to manage, and to also allow me to focus some more time and energy into LCR media and content creating, and take on some different roles, some more above and beyond the green industry. I really love podcasting, and I found this office working space local to me, and I've talked about it a few times here and there, and they have a podcast studio that I use, and there's a lot of businesses that use this office, and they were flabbergasted that the first time I met, and I'm normally an introverted person, but because of social media and my retail management days, I just kind of learned to be an extrovert when I need to be. But I'm good with being in my room and chilling for a little while and kind of reprocessing everything and recharging a little bit. I don't always have to be the life of the party. I'm never the life of the party, but I don't always have to be the one talking the most and be in the crowd and all that, getting everybody hyped up and all that kind of stuff. I'm normally a quiet person, but obviously I can talk about stuff I'm passionate about, and when I'm around friends and people that I need to talk to or lead or whatever. So I naturally, at this office space, I forced myself to be like that. I hear a bunch of people mingling in the kitchen, and I go out there after I'm done podcasting specifically to say hi. I could have went the other way and just snuck out, I'm not going to be, I don't know these strangers, I'm no, I'm going to introduce myself, and I go, hey, how are you? Hey, I'm good. And they're like, what's that bag or whatever? I don't think I just came right out with it, but, something led into it. I was like, I'm a professional podcaster. That was in my head what I was going to say to them. I wasn't going to say 50 million things that I could rattle off that I do or that I am. I just because I had my podcast bag and everything, and I just got done recording a podcast. So I'm like, I just got done recording, or I'm a professional podcaster. I just got done recording a podcast. And to me, a professional podcaster is producing regular content. It's monetized, and it's high quality. That's, I think technically professional is you're getting paid for something. Yeah. So that, technically that's what makes you professional. But when me saying that, all of a sudden everyone was like, "Oh my gosh!" I didn't realize anyone would even care. But I just figured I would just lead off with that. But that opened up a whole another avenue for me of all these people that either some of those people already had a podcast that they needed help with, or they wanted to start a podcast and they didn't know how, or they just thought it was a cool idea and they want to talk about it. So, long story short, I'm transitioning into some bigger roles where LCR Media is going to be consulting people on their podcasts monthly, and I'm going to be co-hosting and running some podcasts with other people.
That's awesome.
Out of the same podcast studio in the same office space. So that's a fun avenue there, and that's literally in the works, day to day, and I'm getting emails and updates, and we're working together and all that stuff. And we have a meeting next week with the team, their team, the business team, to try and I'm going to tell them what they need for their podcast, so we can get it together and start making it happen. But so that's like kind of like a new role there. In addition to what I'm already doing, I just went and I shot some YouTube videos today in the Tampa area. Kind of got my creative juices flowing again. I've had a series on YouTube called Get to Know the Pro for several years now. There was a little bit of a gap in between the 2 seasons. Then COVID hit, and then right after I started season 2, so I really only got like 3 or 4 episodes out, and that was a wrap on that. So maybe I'll start season 3 with these videos I did today. Plus, I've kind of got some stuff that I never even edited yet from way back in the day. So yeah. I'm trying to pivot and focus on that and stay positive and create content, because that's the stuff that really gets me out of bed. Like, I had a conversation with somebody in a different realm in business as a leader, and he said, that he's like, we established that I like lawn care, but I love creating content. Yeah. And he's like,
that's what you're passionate about.
Exactly. He's like, that's what gets you out of bed, isn't it? That's what you would do. And to all the listeners, and it doesn't mean that you don't have, it's okay to not love lawn care. You can like lawn care. And in fact, a lot of people argue, don't do what you love for a living, because then you won't love it anymore, because it becomes more of a job. You should like or enjoy your job or your career, right, to a certain extent, but you don't have to love it. It doesn't have to be your most passionate thing that you do for a living and you're dependent on it for financial well-being. Yeah. It kind of changes the whole overall feel. Yeah, so lawn care I like, and creating content I would do for free till 3 a.m. That's how you know when you truly love something, when you're truly passionate about something. So if you need to ask yourself that, if you're listening to this podcast, like, what would I do for free? Yeah. Is it lawn care? Is it landscaping? Is it creating content? Is it taking pictures? Is it whatever it is? Like, those are just some things that I've always thought about over the years and all that stuff. So I like lawn care, and that's what pays the bills as far as my mortgage, my family, and all that. But I really love creating content. But at the same time, in order to continue creating content and keep increasing the quality and all that, that needs to be compensated. That time that I spend on there has to be some sort of monetary gain there too, to continue forwarding the message and growing that as well. But as far as my life, quality exactly. But as far as my life and career and all that, that's lawn care, and we're doing that. But I dialed some things back with that so that I don't have to rely on having a ton of employees and all that. Like, really, I got rid of a bunch of people this year, a bunch of accounts. And I have some drastic changes that I'm going to be sending emails out to people. Like, everyone's going to have a credit card on file no matter what. So I never forced all of my older people that I've had for a long time to put a credit card on file, because they normally pay me fine with a check, but sometimes they don't, and I'm just kind of over the whole scene. But for a while, for years, every new customer that comes in, it's credit card on file or bust. So now I'm just going to force everyone to have a credit card on file regardless. And I'm preparing myself for potentially losing some people, which will just add to kind of streamlining and downsizing slightly, the accounts that I have, because my routes are so dense. I just want to focus on those neighborhoods, and if I lose a couple of people there, they're probably not the people that I want anyway, and they'll show their true color, stuff like that. So there's some things like that I'm tweaking to my business so that I won't spread myself as thin as I did last year, trying to put up some protective barriers maybe to protect myself from myself, so that if I do lose all my employees for some crazy reason or whatever, I can still manage it myself and still get the work done myself in the interim of getting somebody or whatever. I'm not like balls to the wall, out of my mind, working 7 days a week like I did a few weeks over the summer when I was really down and out sometimes with just timing of things. One guy goes on vacation, another guy quits or whatever, and I'm like, all right, cool, so I'm by myself this week. Sweet.
With 100 yards to do.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, that ain't going to fly.
Does not go over very well.
Yeah, so I really learned some tough lessons there, and I don't, I'm just putting in a lot of safety nets to help me not sacrifice the things that I really enjoy doing, like spending time with my family, creating content, sleep, things like that. So, and
keeping your health. I mean, sleep. You need to sleep for health. Like, that's, people say they sleep 2 and 3 hours a night. Like, and everybody's body functions differently. Yeah. I mean, I think Payjack only gets 3 to 4.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't need it, and that's okay. But I don't know. I wouldn't recommend it as healthy by any means.
You should definitely find out what you do need and stick with that. If you need 8 or 9 hours, then try and get 8 or 9 hours.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just do what you need to do to get that, to stay healthy like that. I want to talk about one topic here that I think you can give a lot of good advice on. This is a question I get a lot about when to make the jump from part-time to full-time. And I think I've discussed it a lot from a single person's point of view when you can do that. I want to hear from your side. And I don't think we talked about this too much on our last podcast, but you did it. You did it with a family and a wife and kids, and you didn't have a mortgage, but you still had bills, utilities. Like, you still had a life and responsibilities to support. You weren't a 22-year-old single dude out just
living with mom and dad.
Moving
still
from Amazon to my full-time lawn care business.
Right.
Like, you transitioned from a full-time career to a full-time lawn maintenance company. So, what are some pointers, some tips, some advice that you would give to somebody who's out there on the fence about thinking of going full-time in your, and we're going to target this. So we're going to target this. It might not pertain to you, but you can probably get something out of it. I'm saying you're married, you have kids, you have responsibilities.
Right.
In your exact scenario. We're not talking about a single 22-year-old here living with parents.
Right.
We're going to talk specifics here for the next 5 to 10 minutes here about some advice you would give on that. Yeah,
well, I can't really give the best advice because everyone has all these different scenarios. But what I can
everything is different. Like every scenario, I mean, that's a big thing.
But what I can do is just tell you exactly what I did and why I did it, and that will help hopefully the listeners take something from that potentially or whatever. But and I have to repeat this often throughout social media because I forget, we get caught up in the content creating in life, and we forget that new waves of people find us.
Oh yeah,
and they don't necessarily know the backstory. Like,
they're not going to go back 100 episodes.
Right, like the people that find Mitchell Gordy now, and he's a solo guy with this massive setup, and you're like, what the heck?
Why do you have all this?
Yeah, it's like, no, you didn't realize the whole backstory of his big crew and all of this stuff, and and he downsized back down to solo, blah blah blah, but he kept all of his stuff. So you don't know, and no one's going to go back through the archives necessarily. So I kind of try to keep people updated so they don't get false impressions, thinking that I'm like a millionaire and I had this massive business and I just it was so easy for me to just go cold turkey from one thing to the next, and everything was just magical, and things worked out, but it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was magical. I mean, ultimately what happened was I was in retail management for over 15 years. But I was a homeowner that loved everything about lawns and kind of learned it the homeowner way. There was really no internet research back then, say 20 years ago. There were just some books at Lowe's and Home Depot and a lot of trial and error and reading the back of Scott's bags and things like that. And so I became educated that way. And I just was really wanted to find a way out of retail because it was just sucking my soul away. And I coincidentally started part-time mowing lawns for just a random situation there without going into that story. But just by chance, I ended up mowing lawns part-time while I was still in retail management. So I was still working 60-plus hours like a crazy person, managing a JCPenney, and, changing in my office and running downstairs and hopping in my Jeep Compass that had the Husqvarna 21-inch push mower, Ryobi hand trimmer and blower. That was crazy. My homeowner edition stuff, just stuck in the back of my Jeep Compass and try and mow a couple lawns before dark. And then on my one day off or so, I would try and bang out the rest or whatever. I just had to squeeze them in every week whenever I get them in when I could fit them in. And I think I had maybe 6 yards, and they were all spread out all over the place. I didn't know anything about route density or pricing or anything. But what that did was it made me realize that I really enjoy this, and I could probably make something of this if I could dedicate all my time to it. And right as I was thinking about that, like I said in one of the lives the other night, it might have been my live a couple nights ago, that my boss, my manager, came into my office and looked at my pictures of my family on the wall and looked and said, "You have a nice family, but you're going to have to choose either them or here because you can't do both." And I'm just like, what kind of pep talk is that? What kind of
how did that even come out of your mouth?
Yeah, exactly. I thought to myself, how are you even saying something like that, man? That is so wrong. Like HR would just rip you a new one right now. I was just speechless and dumbfounded. And every time I tell that story short or long versions, people are always shocked that actually happened, and that's literally what happened. And I was already mowing lawns part-time, so I already had kind of a way out, but I was just like, that was like the catalyst. I was done. Like I had no choice at that point but I was about to have like a literal nervous breakdown. So I just straight up quit. I like not right in that moment, but like a day or two later, whatever. I put in my 2 weeks notice. It was right around the holidays. I had just had enough, and I just quit. But this is the things that people don't remember or realize. My wife had a full-time job. Yeah. If my wife didn't have a full-time job and was like a stay-at-home mom still or whatever, I would not have been able to do that at all. I would have been screwed. I would have been stuck. So and if I hadn't started doing it part-time, I would have been screwed, stuck.
Yeah.
So I already had 1 year under my belt of like trying to do it, so I had a taste of it, and then my wife had a full-time job. So I was able to just quit and just go all out. And it was, like I said, it was right around the holidays, so it was good timing for me to really take that winter time, January, February, we'll say, to really focus on researching, trying to figure out, how to, all the stuff, like come up with a logo, because I didn't really do any of that for my part-time. The first year part-time, I was just focusing on doing the work, cutting the grass, whatever. I wasn't focusing on the business aspect, but I was able to.
You were working in it, not on it.
Yeah. So over the winter, when I quit retail, also I had a lot of savings from my vacation, right? Because you accumulate all this vacation, and then
they don't let you take it.
You can never take it. Every other freaking weekend is like a blackout date for some made-up holiday, actual holidays. Every other weekend something crazy, and then the weekends that are available. I say weekends because if you want a vacation, you want a weekend to be a part of that week vacation. Yeah. You can get Wednesdays off all day every week if you want, but like if you want a week off or a weekend off, now you have to battle with the blackout dates and then the other managers that are trying to squeeze in their time off too. It's like there's only so many available time to take off. So you end up just accumulating all this time to make it sound great that you're getting all this vacation time.
But you'll never be able to take it.
But you never get to take it. So but fortunately, JCPenney was one of those companies that pays you out. Like some companies, you use it or you lose it.
Yeah.
So we would always have a joke, like when people would just start taking all their personal days and all that. We're like, they're going to quit, man. Yeah. Like other companies that I worked for, we always saw the writing on the wall. But, this company and some others I've known, they pay you out. So that's kind of cool. So it was just kind of like, like a savings, really.
Yeah.
And so I got paid for like a month or two's worth of salary, or a month and a half worth of salary. So that
big add-on in that time.
So it's not like I went, completely like, a lot of people are like, did you have any savings before you went full time? Like that's all part of. So hopefully the listeners are learning that these are all parts of getting the boat close to the dock, as a great expression that we all keep talking about. Is making sure that you have a plan, making sure that you have a financial plan, like whether you have savings. In my case, I just had vacation time coming to me that acted as my savings to get me through the winter. Timing is critical, right? I mean, some would argue if you jump in full time, like in the beginning of the season, then you're working right away and you're good to go. That's true. You're going to start making money immediately, but you might not have time to focus on certain things that you need to focus on for your business, like branding, like logos, uniforms, business license, all these things, getting the right equipment, getting your pricing down pat, figuring out what services you want. You might just be throwing yourself out into the wild and you're just running, you're working, you're getting all this money and you think it's great, but you never really had time to really process it as a business and all that. So honestly, it might be better to start a little bit before, plan this stuff like before you're knee deep in it. So I had that transition time, which I think was really helpful. And my wife was still able to pay most of the bills with her full-time job. And then what I got from my vacation time was able to obviously finish paying off the bills like it had been doing before I quit. So basically I was able to pay almost the whole bills with my retail management salary. And she was kind of like all extra. So she was like, at one point was like, this is going to be so great,
Yeah.
And then I was like dying inside, I'm thinking to myself, oh man, this is not going to be so great when I tell her that I'm about to have a nervous breakdown. I need to quit, and they don't always see that, obviously, that other perspective of everything. So, and if you don't have the open communication, or if you're just so like caught up in the moment, you can't even communicate. You're just like grinding it out with your head down. You don't even know what to do. So, but all those things kind of worked out. Getting the boat close to the dock was, I started part-time just coincidentally. It wasn't like I was intending on necessarily leaving. It just was kind of almost like like the universe,
Just like
like
the cards
aligning perfectly for that opportunity for me to happen. And I could have said no, and I wouldn't even be here talking to you, but I said yes, and I just started chipping away at 5 or 6 lawns or whatever it was, and that was one step. And my boss giving me this awful ultimatum was the ultimate catalyst to push me over the edge. And it also happened to be right around the holidays, going into the winter, giving me that time to plan and process everything so I can start off the spring season right out the gate. Also had the savings from vacation time that I didn't use to get me through that winter to pay our bills. And then I literally hit the ground running with 30. I got up to 30 or 35 weekly lawns right away. That's huge. First spring. And I'm like, well, now I'm like, I can't do all this. I don't even have enough time in the week with a 21-inch mower. These are like 10,000 square foot yards. It's taking me like an hour and a half for this. I need to figure this out. So I borrowed some money from a family member to get a trailer, like a little 5x10 trailer, and a walk-behind mower, like a belt drive walk-behind. It's the cheapest walk-behind you can get. But I mean, it was a tank, and it got the job done. It was a Toro walk-behind.
Pistol grips?
No, it was the T-bar. The T-bar is really slick, but they don't even make them anymore now. And I finally traded that in. Yeah, but I never tried the pistol grips, but I heard a lot of horror stories over the years.
That was my first walk-behind. I bought from a guy used, and it was
a belt-driven. Oh, that's even worse.
Belt-driven pistol grip Skag 36-inch.
Yeah, that's rough.
It was awful. I mean, I just tried to get my money back out of it. I used it like 2 times, never used it again, sold it, and I hated it.
The T-bar wasn't as bad because of the whole way that it works. Yeah. So you can one-hand it, you can control it with one hand. It was out of all belt drive walk-behinds you can think of. It was a floating deck, so you can adjust the pins and everything.
What year was this?
It was 2014, I think I started.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's 2021.
So you're going into year 8.
Yeah, year 8, or it might have been 2013 because I think I'm on year 8. But anyway, that's the 13, 14. Yeah. It's somewhere around there. I kind of like some of that. I kind of like blocked that on my head. But I know 2016 was when I got the grandstand and kind of upgraded some of my. That was like my first big thing. Yeah. But so that was a couple of years that I waited for that. So it was 2014, probably 2013, 2014. Like 2013 was when I quit. At the end of that 2013, and then 2014 was the beginning. Yeah, but so I was part-time a year before that too, which is why I probably say 8 years. But at any rate, that was my first startup. Was I borrowed money for a trailer, a little 5x10 open trailer, and that walk-behind. And I already had the trimmers and blowers and all that stuff that were still homeowner stuff, and I slowly upgraded those over time. But I was able to pay that money back for the trailer and the walk-behind the following season. Like I just made payments every month to the person that I borrowed it from and had it paid off by the following season. Yeah. So, that I felt like that was a good deal. Didn't feel obligated to them anymore and wasn't in debt or any of that kind of stuff. And I traded in my Jeep Compass right away also for an F-150 pickup truck so I could actually tow my trailer. Yeah. And they actually ended up giving me a check for like $600 because the Jeep was actually worth more than this old F-150. It wasn't beat up or anything, but it was like a 1999, and it was like 2014. So it was getting up there, and it was like almost at 200,000 miles. But I'm like, I'll get a good couple of years out of it. Should be all right. I did a lot of research. They, those old Triton engines for the F-150s back then. They said they're great engines. Yeah. When they get to like 250 miles or something like that, so when they start getting squirrely, I'm like, I got plenty of time. Things like 180 right now. I'm good. I'm just gonna be driving around these little neighborhoods here. I'm not gonna be driving all over town because I had already started to realize I'm not gonna drive all over town. This is ridiculous. Like I had 1 yard that I did the first year part time where I was driving 45 minutes to get to that yard. And it took me 20 minutes to mow it when I had my walk behind. I just zip through that thing, trim, edge real quick, blow whatever a little bit off. It took me 15 to 20 minutes to do the yard, but 45 minutes to get there and 45 minutes to get back. Yeah. It made absolutely no sense. She couldn't pay me enough for that to even make sense. You know what I mean? And
no way.
So those are the things that I had to learn right away, right out the gate. But that's how it all started. So like right away, right out the gate, I had all those weekly clients for mowing, and then I was doing a lot of hodgepodge odds and ends jobs and everything. And then I was like, I need to get the right equipment for that, and I got that paid off right away, and just kept growing after that. Yeah. But going into that next winter, I didn't have any money in savings. I didn't have a winter fund or anything. I didn't even really know about that. I don't think until somewhere in the middle of the year, maybe I discovered Mike McCallowett's Profit First plan, his book, and that's when I told my wife about it, and she's a big accounting, business, bookkeeper, mindset person. Those are the kind of jobs she's always had: payroll, bookkeeping, all that, taxes. So she was all for it, but, we didn't have enough time to prepare for it all year long. So all the money that I was making was going straight to bills and straight back into the business to pay the mower and the trailer and stuff like that off. So I really had no money going into winter, so I had to work at Amazon.
Okay,
the infamous Amazon story where I worked for the Amazon fulfillment center all winter long. And, to be able to help keep paying the bills with my wife.
That's a common thing, though, starting out. I mean, you're not going to be able to get through every winter your first 1 to 2, 3 years there. It's not – sometimes it's just not possible.
Yeah.
When you're still just building that clientele basis. I mean,
right.
We're just now getting to that point. I mean, year 4 now where we're not having to generate a bunch of extra income in the winter because we were able to make enough through the summer, save, and be responsible. And that's a huge step to get to. Hey there, fellow lawn and landscape business owner. Do you work hard all year for your freedom but still feel as if your money controls you? Unfortunately, because you can't give bookkeeping your full energy or focus, it just sits there most nights untouched, continually haunting you. Because your business demands your time elsewhere, you need a personalized bookkeeping solution dedicated to your industry. Gulf Coast Bookkeeping, now known as the Landscaping Bookkeeper, is dedicated to giving your time and peace of mind back through our monthly bookkeeping service. You can begin this partnership with us today by going to www.gulfcoastbk.com and scheduling a 15-minute call. We want you to become a confident and informed business owner. We'll take care of your green so you can take care of theirs. Schedule a 15-minute call today at www.gulfcoastbk.com. Today's episode is brought in part to you by Woodland Direct. Did you know fire is the #1 requested outdoor design feature for homeowners? Woodland Direct can help you create the cozy backyard your client desires with its range of high-quality fire features, including fire pits, fireplaces, outdoor kitchens, patio heaters, and more. Woodland also has the largest team of NFI certified experts in the industry, ready to guide you through every step of your fire projects. Help your clients create the backyard of their dreams by visiting www.woodlanddirect.com or call 800-919-1904 to talk to an NFI certified expert today. Again, that's www.woodlanddirect.com or you can call 800-919-1904 to talk to an expert today that can help you.
Yeah, and that was just the biggest key for me was just the winter savings. So the Profit First Plan, for those of you that don't want to read the book, it's a really good book, or listen to the audiobook, but just a quick summary is you just make a whole bunch of different accounts, savings accounts or checking accounts, a combination of all of that, one bank, multiple banks. There's a lot of recommendations in the book, but ultimately you're just taking all your money is getting deposited, right? If you're getting paid cash, whatever, hopefully you're depositing that into your account, checks. Hopefully it's going into your checking account. Credit cards, obviously, are going to be going into your checking account. That's the #1 thing, is trying to get credit cards on file so you can get the money quicker than checks and cash. But all that's going into your business checking account, right? Business checking account.
Yep.
All these things I'm trying to help you guys out if you're the first time trying to get into this business. But it's going in your business account. You don't want to have all this money in your business account just sitting there, because you might get careless and think, oh, I have all this money, I can get that new backpack blower, or whatever,
Big advice.
I can get that new mower or whatever. So that's just human nature. It doesn't make you a bad person or me a bad person or anyone a bad person. It's just human nature. So what Mike McCallum says in his book is like, just make smaller plates. Like if you see all that money in one account, you're going to be more tempted to spend it. So if you can take that and split it up into smaller plates, so put them in a different accounts. So you take a percentage, you allocate it to each account. Like say winter savings might be 10% or whatever. And then I'm not going to go into all that because the book explains how to pick percentages and all that. But the bottom line is you put a certain amount into all these different accounts: taxes, winter savings, profit. That's why it's called the Profit First Plan. Instead of waiting until the end of the year and whatever you have left is profit, well, you'll usually never have profit then if that's the case, because you always find a way to spend extra money, quote unquote, right, throughout the year. So you're trying to keep yourself from yourself. You're trying to protect yourself from human nature of spending stuff that you think you have that you really shouldn't be spending by dividing it all up. And now you just have a little bit in that checking account that should just be your operating expenses for gas, maintenance, all that kind of miscellaneous stuff that you deal with every week throughout the month to run your business. That's the only reason that money should be in there. All the other money should be allocated. So once we did that for winter savings, we would always have the right amount of money saved up for winter savings. So every month we could take a draw out of that savings account to pay for our bills or whatever it was that we needed to supplement, my wife's salary at the time. And then we still do that to this day. even though my business and revenue and everything has increased, and now she's not even working full time anymore, not by choice because of COVID. She got laid off, and like a lot of people, and she couldn't find anything, and she just decided to invest more time in my business with lawn care, and then just doing more side things, side hustles on her own and whatnot. But everything shifted. My business was finally making, more than I was making in retail management, so that it can support, our bills, and whatever little bit she makes is everything that she makes. I don't want to say a little bit, make it sound bad. Everything else additional that she makes is just additional, maybe just for
extra income,
for vacations, things like that, whatever. So it's been an evolution for sure over the years, and it's just been a lot of just growing and learning and just trying to plan and not just jumping into it. So ultimately, just make sure you are figuring it out, have a plan. Don't, it seems like I just jumped in that boat because I almost had a breakdown in my. But
you had a big plan. Big goal.
Right. I already had some things established.
Yeah.
My wife had a job. All these things were already kind of in place.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have just jumped in the boat if there was a hole in it. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
I would have seen those red flags. So even though it seemed like I just jumped right in, it's like life is going to tell you sometimes too. And a lot of people, human nature, you're going to wait until you hit rock bottom a lot of times before you change something or before you jump in the boat.
100%, yes.
It's unfortunate that human brains work that way, but so I can give you all the advice in the world about getting the boat close to the dock. It could be right there. You could literally just be touching it with your foot, and you still might not step into it until someone pushes your ass in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're just not really. It's just humans. We're like, change. Oh my gosh, red alert. We're just fear. Like fight or flight. What do we do? Run away. It's like so. We can give you all the advice in the world, but sometimes it takes life to give you that push. Yeah. And you just have to jump, or you fall in, and you're like, all right, here I am, let's go.
Yeah. Well, I love it, man. Thanks for telling that story. That's a first case scenario of quitting your full-time job and going full-time in your landscape company. And everybody's scenario is different. I've harped on that all week, and every conversation I've been on just about this week is a lot of these questions, they're not broad answers. Like it all depends on your situation. Aside from know your numbers, there's not very many things that just apply across the board. There's a lot of different things that just got to put in your own situation and do your own research and work for yourself. So, well, man, we're already at 40 minutes. This thing has flown by.
Wow.
Yeah. This thing has flown by here.
Holy cow.
We're about to have to get cleaned up and ready to go get some dinner here.
Yeah.
But I got two questions for you. First one, short and sweet, 30, 60 seconds. What is your biggest takeaway from Hype House 2022?
When you get the right people together, great content is created.
Yeah.
And
everybody's got the right mindset, same attitude.
Yeah, and just and to that note, just surround yourself with. You don't have to be coming to the Hype House. Just use this as an example for life and business. Surround yourself with good people, like-minded people you want that will inspire you, that will lead you, that peers, mentors, all the above that. Will progress you forward to where you want to be. Don't surround yourself with people that are going to keep you down or push you back or whatever. So surround yourself around good people.
Absolutely, man. Well, final question is I always like to ask this at the end of the show, and I love hearing everybody's opinions and answers. What is your why?
What is my why? My why is to support my family and so they can have a good life and I can enjoy my life more than what the heck I was enjoying it in retail. I felt like I was completely out of control, like I had no control over my life. And to a certain extent, you can't really control a lot of things that happen to your life, but you can control your own actions and things you do. And I felt so out of control in retail. And as soon as I was saying this to you guys last night, right before we were wrapped up, I was sick all the time. I would always get colds that would turn into bronchitis, laryngitis, ear infections, all kinds of craziness because I was just so stressed out and run down and depressed and all this stuff because I was in no control of my life and I was in just a bad scenario. So once I quit that and started doing lawn care and got more control of my life and started doing things that I actually enjoyed, I haven't been sick ever since except recently.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother story.
That's a whole nother ballgame. Yeah.
But so that's my why
awesome.
is having some control of my life and my family and spending time. Like I think I said to you in the last podcast, I went on more vacations my first year in lawn care not vacations, more field trips with my kids my first year in business than I did the whole rest of their life prior to that. You know, the last 5 years
that's
or so.
Time you'll never trade for anything.
Right.
Like, you'll never get that time back.
Right.
And I'm glad that you got to do that and take advantage of it and perform those, get to go on those field trips, spend that time, and it's a big leap. I know it's a big leap of faith when you made that jump.
For sure. My wife was terrified. I think I said this to you guys on my podcast last night. Like, she was terrified, but she didn't say anything.
Yeah.
She just tried to be as supportive as she could.
That's awesome, though, that she was supportive. And I think because who knows, if she would have done something different, it might have made you be stuck in a situation that you hated, and you could have ruined your life. You never know what would have come out of that.
Right. All the repercussions. One little thing contributes to everything else. But yeah. So my final little statement is, money's temporary, memories are permanent.
Boom.
So there you
Boom.
go. Make
There's
memories.
nothing left right there.
Make memories.
There's nothing left.
You can always make money. We make memories.
That's right. Spend the money, go on the trips. Spend the money, go see your friends, go do whatever. Those memories will last forever. I'm a firm believer in that.
100%.
Well, where can everybody find you, man?
Well, LCR Media Podcast, and then just all over social media. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Twitter now. I'm not Twitter. It is Twitter, but that's old. Yeah. I meant to say TikTok now.
Oh, wow,
just playing around with that just to see, what all the hype is about.
Trying to turn into Blake Albertson there and get those
not really
big subscribers.
No, not really. I just somebody that I'm really good friends with that's been a mentor to me and a lot of folks like Paul Jameis and everyone back in the day. He's doing his own thing now, but he was kind of a part of our little close mastermind group for a while many years ago. But we still stay in touch, and he was telling me about TikTok. He just got on TikTok, and I was like, dude, really? Is it that serious? And he was dude, man, you don't even know. I'm like, are you getting any ROI from this? It's just like a bunch of entertainment, And he's like, no, I'm getting tons of conversion. Like, people are clicking on my links and contacting me for my coaching. And he was like, it took me, what did he say? I don't remember how many years it said however many years it took him to get to 10,000 followers on Instagram. It took him like 30 days on TikTok to get the same amount of followers.
A powerful platform.
I was like, all right, well, maybe I'll give it a little test run and see how it goes. And the algorithms do seem to be in your favor. Like, you're a nobody and you post something and all of a sudden you start getting views.
Yeah.
As long as you follow their rules and it's something worth watching, you're going to get the views. You may not necessarily get millions of views. That takes a little bit of time or a little bit of luck to get the right video to be shared a gazillion times and it takes off. But
add value, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Add value.
Ultimately, I just think that'll be another. If it works out, it works out. I just want to keep spreading my message, right? I want people to listen to the podcast. I want them to watch the YouTube videos and Instagram, Facebook, all that's more about like event posting and life updates and business updates, which helps motivate people and potentially bring people together. But so those are, I'm just Lawncare Rookie. If you Google Lawncare Rookie or LCR, you're going to see a ton of stuff comes up.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to find me. But definitely listen to the podcast, LCR Media Podcast, and YouTube videos. There's a lot of good playlists that I have on there from way back in the day to recently that I keep adding new stuff to. So
yeah, awesome. Well, thank you for your time today, man.
Well, thank you for having me.
I'm excited to be here. I'm glad we got this episode knocked out here and excited to get some more content in before we head out and head home. So thank you all for listening. I want to say thanks again to Entrepreneur Academy and the Hardskip Academy for putting this event on. We had some fuzzy audio at the beginning, so if you didn't hear this at the beginning, that hopefully cleared it up now. But without them, this place would not have been available. Would not have been able to come down here and hang out and produce all this content and just really just continue to grow the community one relationship at a time. That's what we always say. We're out here growing the community. That's my goal, is to just build relationships, and relationships will take you. I think they will take you to the moon. Like there's no stopping point when you build constant, quality relationships.
100%.
And there's nothing more important than life, honestly, I think, than communication and relationship building, and just building friendships, mentorships, people that can help you along the way and give you a lot of good advice as you take on this journey of entrepreneurship, social media world, whatever it may be. There's just it's big. It's big for me. It means a lot. It means a lot to build relationships. So thanks to both of those platforms for putting this event on. You can go check those out for any resources you may need. Thanks for tuning in. If you liked the episode, would you leave it a big thumbs up and leave us a rating and review on the podcast platforms? That will help boost us up in the rankings and get us out there to the greater community to continue to grow this community one relationship at a time. Thanks for tuning in, guys. This is the Growing Green Landscapes podcast. We will catch y'all on the next episode.
Thanks for tuning in to the Growing Green Landscapes podcast. We know you have many other podcast options to choose from, and don't take it for granted that you chose to spend some time with us today. You can connect with Jeremiah Jennings at Growing Green Landscapes on Instagram or use the link in the show description. Don't forget to smash the follow button on the podcast and leave those 5-star ratings and reviews. We hope you crush it in your business and hope to catch you on our next episode.